Rain clung to the city like a gray veil the evening Alexander Price stepped out of his mansion in worn boots and a faded jacket that smelled faintly of machine oil. Anyone watching would never imagine that beneath the baggy clothes stood a man whose name controlled half the industrial sector across the country. But none of his power mattered tonight. Tonight, he wasn't Alexander Price, billionaire founder of Price Innovations, feared negotiator, father of one beloved daughter. Tonight, he was old scrap man Alex, a role he had spent weeks preparing for. Hidden under the grime on his face, under the wool cap and hunched shoulders, was a mission to test the young man who wanted to marry his only daughter, Elena. He had met many charmers, many liars, many boys who put on a polite smile for him but treated people beneath them like trash. But his daughter, sweet, gentle Elena, was convinced that her fiancé Adam Khan was different. "Dad," she had insisted, "he's kind, he's hard-working, he's humble." But Alexander had been burned before. A lifetime of watching people pretend had carved caution deep into his bones. He needed to know the truth, so he drove his old rusty pickup truck, one he kept solely for undercover inspections, across town to the small garage where Adam worked as a mechanic. The garage was run by a man named Yusuf, a friend who owed Alexander enough favors that he agreed to let him work there as a temporary scrap collector. No one knew his real identity except the owner. The moment he stepped inside, the heavy scent of motor oil slapped the air. Tools clattered, engines rumbled, and men shouted instructions over each other. In the middle of it all, Adam stood bent over a motorcycle, grease staining his hands, hair messy, humming softly to himself. Alexander watched him for a long second. He didn't look privileged, didn't look fake, just a young man who worked hard, but people could always pretend. He approached slowly, dragging a crate of rusty parts behind him. Adam looked up, smiled warmly, and said, "You must be the new scrap guy. I'm Adam. If you need anything, let me know." The smile was genuine. But charm didn't fool the billionaire. "Sure," Alexander growled in a deep, roughened voice. "Just tell me where to dump this mess." "Let me help you," Adam said, immediately setting down his tools. "No need," Alexander barked. But Adam simply chuckled. "You're going to hurt your back like that. Here, let's do it together." They lifted the crate. Alexander felt the weight, heavy, awkward, and he expected Adam to grunt or pretend, but Adam lifted more than half the load without complaint. As they walked, Alexander studied every motion, every shift of expression. He saw no arrogance, no irritation, no condescension toward an old scrap man, but the test had only just begun. Hours later, when the garage was closing and employees started filtering out, Alexander deliberately spilled a box of bolts. The metal scattered across the floor like sharp silver rain. Most workers sighed and stepped around him. Adam stopped. Kneeling instantly, he said, "Don't worry. I'll help you pick these up. You got better things to do," Alexander muttered. "Maybe," Adam said softly, "but helping someone only takes a moment." Alexander didn't respond, but he noticed something important. Adam didn't look around to see if anyone was watching. He simply helped. When the floor was clean, Adam stood, dusted off his hands, and said, "Good night, sir." Alexander grunted. "See you tomorrow." He left the garage feeling unsettled, confused, a little disarmed. If Adam was pretending, he was very good at it. When Alexander returned home that night, Elena rushed to him, wrapped her arms around him, and said, "Dad, you smell like motor oil." "Occupational hazard," he muttered. She pulled back, eyes shimmering with curiosity. "You didn't go near Adam today, did you?" He raised a brow. "Would you like to know?" "No," she said softly. "I trust him. I just hope you give him a fair chance." Alexander didn't sleep that night. If Adam hurt her, it would destroy him. The next morning, he returned to the garage early, arriving before the sun had fully risen. He pretended to rummage through scrap piles, but secretly he watched Adam interact with customers, coworkers, and strangers. A wealthy client pulled in driving a luxury sports car, one Alexander recognized because he designed the engine. The man spoke to everyone rudely, but when Adam approached, he softened slightly, respecting the young man's calm, confident tone. "Guess you treat rich folk well," Alexander mumbled. Adam shrugged. "I treat everyone well. Money doesn't make someone more deserving of courtesy." Alexander's chest tightened. That was exactly the kind of thing Elena would say, but the real test was yet to come. Late afternoon, when the sun dipped and cast orange light through the garage windows, a small boy wandered in. He wore oversized sandals, ripped clothes, and carried a broken scooter missing a wheel. "Sir," the boy whispered shyly, "can you fix it?" Adam crouched. "Where's your mother?" "Working," the boy said. "She said I should come here. I only have 200 rupees." The scooter needed at least 1,500 in parts alone. Adam didn't hesitate. "Keep your money," he said gently. "Come back tomorrow. I'll fix it." Alexander's brows shot upward. "And," Adam added with a wink, "next time bring me a drawing. I like cartoons." The boy grinned. Alexander kept silent, but something warm tugged at his chest. He wasn't ready to admit it yet. Not until he knew everything. Not until he was sure. He had one final test planned. One that would reveal whether Adam's character was real or just a well-crafted mask. 2 days later, the test arrived. A woman stormed into the garage around noon, tall, impeccably dressed, wearing designer heels that clicked sharply on the concrete floor. Her hair was tied in a sleek bun, and her harsh expression announced she wasn't here for car trouble. Alexander recognized her instantly. Charlotte Hale, CEO of Hale Tech, longtime rival and today an actress in his little experiment, Bar. He approached Adam aggressively. "Bar, you," she snapped, pointing a manicured finger. "You worked on my car last week, Bar." Dam blinked. "Ma'am, I work on a lot of cars. What seems to be the problem?" "The problem," she said dramatically, "is that you damaged my vehicle, and now I demand compensation." The entire garage went silent. Burr. Mechanics froze mid-movement. Customers stared. Alexander crossed his arms from a distance, watching Adam closely. Adam panicked. "Bar. F," he blamed someone else. "Bar. F," he folded under pressure. "Beer. F," he shouted back. "Beer." Alexander would know the truth. "Beer. UT Adam didn't do any of that." E stepped forward calmly and said, "Let's inspect the damage together, Beer." "Don't you dare act innocent," Charlotte shouted for full effect. "Burr." "Ma'am," he said gently, "I'm not arguing. I just want to understand." Harlot huffed loudly. "Fine, outside. Now, Burr." Hay walked into the sunlight where a luxury black sedan waited. Charlotte gestured angrily to a hairline scratch near the bumper. "Burr." "This," she yelled. "This wasn't here before." Dam crouched down. His eyes moved carefully over the scratch. "Burr." Alexander held his breath. For a moment, Adam rose and said, "Ma'am, this scratch is old. How dare you tell me I don't know my own car? It's not about that." Adam's voice was steady, compassionate. "There's dust settled inside the scratch. That only happens after several days, maybe weeks. See here." He leaned closer, speaking softly, almost kindly, teaching her instead of arguing. Charlotte blinked in surprise. Alexander narrowed his eyes. He wasn't expecting Adam to stay so calm. "So what are you saying?" Charlotte said, lowering her tone. "That I can fix it for free," Adam said. "But I can't take responsibility for something I didn't do." The garage held its breath. It was the perfect answer. Respectful, firm, honest. But the test wasn't over. Charlotte crossed her arms. "I'm wealthy. I could buy and sell this entire garage. One word from me and you'll lose your job." Adam didn't flinch. With respect, he said, "My job is to serve people, not to bow to them." Alexander felt something crack inside him, a long-held fear melting. Charlotte softened. Even she had trouble keeping up the act. "You're a good man," she said quietly for only him to hear. "A rare one." Adam simply smiled. Alexander walked away before Charlotte exposed the truth. He pretended to fiddle with scrap metal, pretending his eyes didn't sting in the corners. That evening, he followed Adam secretly as he left work. The young man didn't go out with friends or spend time in fancy restaurants. Instead, he went to a small one-room apartment. Inside, Adam's younger sister sat at the table doing homework. Their mother, frail but smiling, stirred a pot of soup on a single-burner stove. "Adam," she said, "you're late." "Busy day," he replied, kissing her forehead. "You smell like engines," his sister giggled. "And you smell like crayons," Adam shot back playfully. They ate together, laughed together, shared stories of their day. Alexander watched from outside the building, his heart heavy. This wasn't a boy pretending. This wasn't someone chasing wealth. This was a young man supporting his family, carrying burdens in silence, loving without expecting anything. Suddenly, Alexander felt ashamed for doubting Elena's instincts, but he still needed to know one more thing. The next morning, at the garage, Alexander collapsed. He dropped his tools, clutched his chest, crashed to his knees. A perfect imitation of a sudden heart attack. Adam reacted before anyone else. "Call an ambulance," he shouted. "Move the crates, give him air." No, one employee muttered. "He's just the scrap guy. Let the boss handle—" "Move!" Adam roared, voice cracking with fear. He crouched beside Alexander, lifted his head gently and whispered, "Sir, stay with me. I've got you. You're going to be okay." His hands trembled. His eyes shone with genuine panic. He didn't see a scrap dealer. He didn't see someone unimportant. He saw a human being. Alexander almost broke character. When the ambulance arrived, another arrangement he had made, the paramedics loaded him onto the stretcher. Before they closed the doors, Adam grabbed his hand. "Don't worry," he whispered. "I'll visit you in the hospital. You're not alone." Alexander's chest tightened with a painful warmth. He had seen enough. 2 days later, Alexander sat in his mansion's garden, wearing his real clothes, posture straight, unmasked. The sun filtered through the trees, and the air smelled of jasmine, Elena's favorite scent. She paced anxiously in front of him. "Dad, you've been acting strange for days," she said. "Did something happen at the company? Are you feeling okay?" "I'm fine," he said. "Sit." She sat reluctantly. There was no easy way to say it. "Elena, I tested your fiancé." Her eyes widened. "Dad, I disguised myself as a scrap dealer in his garage." She gasped. "Ed, you what?" "I had to know," Alexander whispered. "I've lived long enough to see people lie for advantage. I couldn't risk your happiness. I couldn't let you marry a man I didn't fully trust." She stood, disbelief on her face. "Dad, how could you—" "Because I'm your father," he said softly, "and because you're the only family I have left." Tears filled her eyes. What did you find?" she whispered. Alexander inhaled slowly. "He is everything you said," he said. "Kind, honest, courageous, loyal." Her breath caught. "And," Alexander continued, voice thickening, "he treats the lowest man in the room with the same respect he gives the highest." Elena covered her mouth with trembling fingers. "And you know what?" Alexander added with a sad smile. "He risked his job, his safety, to help me when he thought I was just a poor old man dying on a dirty garage floor." Tears spilled down Elena's cheeks. "Dad, he's worthy of you," Alexander whispered. "Far more than I expected, far more than I deserved to have in our family." She sobbed openly and hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Dad," she whispered. "Thank you for seeing him." Later that afternoon, Alexander drove to Adam's garage, not in disguise this time. He arrived in a sleek black car, stepping out in a suit worth more than the entire workshop. Employees froze. Tools stopped clattering. Mouths fell open. Adam looked confused at first. Then his eyes widened. "Sir, you're—" Alexander stepped forward. "No scrap dealer," he said with a soft smile. "My name is Alexander Price." Adam swallowed hard. The billionaire?" "The father," Alexander corrected, "of the woman you wish to marry." Silence fell. Adam's hands shook slightly. "Sir, I never—" "I know," Alexander interrupted gently. "You didn't know who I was. You didn't try to impress me. You treated me with kindness when you thought I was nobody." Adam blinked rapidly, overwhelmed. Alexander approached him slowly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "I tested you," he said. "I pushed you. I wanted to know if you were worthy of my daughter." Adam inhaled sharply. "Did I pass?" Alexander smiled. "You didn't just pass," he said. "You restored my faith in good men." Adam exhaled shakily, tears forming. "I love her," he whispered. "More than anything." "I know," Alexander replied. "And now, you have my blessing." The garage erupted in cheers. Adam covered his face, overwhelmed with emotion. But Alexander wasn't done. He waited for silence, then said loudly, "Adam Khan, will you join my company? Not as an employee, but as family. I want you to help lead Price Innovations into the future." Adam stared in shock. "Sir, why me?" "Because good men deserve good opportunities," Alexander said, "and because my daughter deserves a husband who leads with heart." Adam's voice cracked. "I won't let you down." "I know," Alexander whispered. Weeks later, at the engagement ceremony, Elena walked toward Adam dressed in gold and ivory, glowing with happiness. Adam waited, eyes full of awe. Alexander stood nearby, feeling tears he never allowed himself in public. As Elena reached Adam and placed her hand in his, Alexander felt something he hadn't felt in years: peace, hope, family. When the couple exchanged rings, Adam looked at Alexander with deep gratitude, and Alexander nodded, silently saying, "Welcome, son." The millionaire father-in-law didn't just gain a son-in-law. He gained a son he never knew he needed, and in the end, he thanked God he had once disguised himself as a scrap dealer, because without that disguise, he might never have seen the truth.